Live from America, you're listening to the Hip Hop Patriot, Jeremy Herrell.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Live from America. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining in today. Today is, well, it's the day after St. Patty's Day, right? It is, what is it? It is March 18th, year of our Lord, 2021. And I couldn't be more happy to be with you guys today. We were experiencing some massive technical difficulties this morning with audio and with sound. I had to reboot the whole system, but we're back live now. And I guess that's what you have to deal with when you're independent media like myself. So we're going to give some live shout outs. I want to make sure that everything is kosher. Make sure that you can hear me and see me okay. I don't want you guys sharing a video that that doesn't work, okay? I want to give some live shout outs here to people who are not only watching the show today live on YouTube and on my website, but also for those who listen to the podcast as well. Cam Butler, good to see you. Alicia Wida, good morning to you. Mountain Tortuga, BC from Florida. How are you, man? Thank you very much. Nicholas Rotrick from Ohio. God bless you. Sandra Reeves from California, she says. God bless you. Karen M.A., shout out to Karen M.A. Last email, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and I've been talking with you through email. We'll get that Bible out to you today. Tracy Haga, good to see you. We got Jennifer Boone Webster from Kentucky. We got Alyssa Anderson from Crap, Illinois, she says. Sheila Sereno watching all the way from Italy. Let's make sure that we got a nice good feed here this morning. We got Carol Morris from Upper Michigan. I would believe that would be the UP, right? The Upper Peninsula. Been there many times to Houghton and Hancock. John, let's see if I get this right. Neeram says, need a shout out, please. Well, there you go, John. Hope everything's doing okay. Shout out to Kerry Ritzel. She says, I bought Jesus Calling. It arrives tomorrow. Well, good for you. Good for you. That's one step closer. Denise Young says, why does this have yesterday's date? Oh, that's because I messed up, and I will make sure that I fix that again. We were running late, so I had to make sure that I got on, and I'll fix that. Don't worry. Carrie Pons, good to see you. Thank you very much. Iva Hogue from Arizona, wearing my Armor of God shirt today. Awesome. Great job. Thank you so much. I appreciate you buying that and wearing that, because we need to show the world that we are followers of Christ. And Jackie says, sounds good and looks good. Thank you so much. Let's do a couple more here, and then I'll try to fix the date here for you guys. Mary Berg says, please shout me out from Fort Worth. Well, shout out to you, Mary Berg. Don't worry, I will fix the date on this video after it is done. I don't think I can do it on the fly like this, so I'll make sure that I edit it and fix it when it's done. We got about 1,000 people watching, so if you guys could, you know the drill. Make sure you jump out of the chat, click that like button, click the notification bell so you're always notified. But just remember, you can always go to jeremyherrell.com at 11 and 5 p.m. Eastern every single day and click right over, and you'll be prompted right to the video wherever we do it from. So I'd also like to give some special shout outs today. Hold on here. I got some stuff I'd like to show you. This came in the mail to me last night. And what I love about this is it has the verse. Somebody made this for me. They framed this and made this for me. And I'd like to give a special shout out to Karen Fast. Karen Fast made this for me. And the reason why I like this so much is because on my website, if you go to jeremyherrell.com, right on the top, it has a very, very important verse for me. And that verse states this: I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. And that comes from Philippians, and that's one of my favorite verses. And I'm very excited to have that, and I can't wait to hang it up here in the studio. So thank you, Karen, for sending me that. Very, very, very wonderful gift. I'd also like to give a shout out. See this cup right here? See this cup? It says Texas on it. And it says EST 1845, and it's got a bull on it. I got this wonderful cup, and I got this awesome bag of coffee from Rhonda Tress. I'd like to give a big shout out to Rhonda Tress. Thank you so very much for sending me this stuff. And we got one more, guys, one more. Have you ever had a Sensi before? My wife loves these things. My wife has about 1,000 of these in the house. But this was sent to me by Dustin and Brandy Henty. And I hope I say your last name right. It might be Hent, but it's Hente. And this is a great Sensi. And they gave me some really good scents, too. I can't wait to plug this in. But how cool is that, huh? How cool is that? I got to tell you, I'm so humbled when I get gifts like this in the mail. When you guys send me gifts like this in the mail, it makes me feel so incredibly humble and so inspired. Really, ladies and gentlemen, so inspired. And that's what the message was this morning. If you signed up for my newsletter, morning message today was about being humble. And that's exactly what I feel every single day when I get something in the mail. So I just want to thank you guys all so much. Yes, I know the date is wrong. If you're just joining in, the date on the video is wrong. I will fix that. Do not let that stop you from sharing the video, okay? I appreciate that. But yeah, Sensi is awesome. And these gifts are awesome. I love this new cup, especially the size of it. I can hold 2 coffee cups in this one cup, and that's exactly what I need. So I can slurp, slurp, slurp. Becky Haas, yes, I know the date is wrong on the video, and I will change that when the video is done. Like I said this morning, no audio was coming out of the test this morning. So I had to shut everything down and turn it back on as quick as possible. I know it says Happy St. Patrick's Day scrolling across the bottom as well. I think we're going to get rid of that. So if you just give me... well, I don't know if let me see it. I think I can get rid of that on the fly. Let's get rid of that on the fly, because it should definitely not say Happy St. Patrick's Day, because it is not St. Patrick's Day. I'm going to get rid of that on the fly. Thank you guys for, giving me a little bit of leeway here as we do this, because, when you're doing this all yourself, things happen. Things definitely happen. And I will put the right date on this. It's 3/18/21. There. Hopefully that solves the problem. So thank you guys for bearing with me. I appreciate that. Let's get right to the verse of the day. Let's give our honor and attention to God where it belongs. Maybe... thank you very much. I appreciate that. To never bet against Trump. But maybe had I done a little bit more... soul searching this morning, I would have gotten to the studio a little earlier and got this done quicker for you guys and made sure it was right the first time. You know what I mean? It will be St. Patrick's Day in 365 days. Exactly. All right, guys. The morning verse this morning came from John 13:14. And we all need a lesson in being humble, right? Very few of us have lived a humble life. It's only when we start walking with Christ and we find that journey with Jesus, do we really embrace the feeling and the idea of being humble, okay? And the verse of the day, John 13:14 says this: "Know that I, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet." Or now that I, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you also should wash one another's feet. Now, if you're part of the newsletter this morning, you know that I misspelled that as well. It's been a rough morning. It's been a rough morning. When you have 5 kids, sometimes you have rough mornings, and that's what we had today. So I did misspell that, but let's say that again. Now that I, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you should wash one another's feet. And I wrote this: talk about humbling yourself, huh? Jesus did something that nobody had ever done before and very few have done since. He urged kings, high priests, and Roman emperors and other leaders to show humbleness by serving their servants from time to time. A great leader gets his or her hands dirty right alongside those who serve them. As a parent, this speaks volumes to me. Our kids have a lot of chores, And the older they get, the more responsibilities they have. Not that our kids are our servants, but they do a lot of stuff around the house to help out, right? So the older they get, the more responsibilities they have. God wants us to lead our children by example. And to lead by example, sometimes you got to get your hands dirty with them, right? So sometimes I'll either do their chores for them. I'll say, you know what, I'll do the dishes tonight. Or I will get involved in doing their chores with them. Okay? And this does show, this is a form of humbleness. This shows them that you will do the same things that you want them to do, and that you don't feel that you're above them in any way, even though you're their parent, and they should be doing what you say. When I was a general manager of a distillery, actually, of a craft distillery, I would always do the work that the employees were supposed to do under me, their tasks. I would come in, and sometimes I would do it for them. My CEO would always tell me, you don't need to do that. That's not your job. But that's where instead of being a manager, I was more of a leader. And I'm just that way by nature. But ever since finding Jesus, I've done that even more. You know what I mean? So my CEO would always tell me, you don't need to do that. But if we remember Jesus' teaching about this message, that we were all created equal, even though some of us are in different positions. All of us are created equal, and we should never forget that. So what does a humble servant look like? Jesus gave us the perfect example, so let's follow it, okay? And now let's get right to the prayer. And the prayer is this: Lord Jesus, thank you for setting the perfect example for us of what true servant leadership looks like. Please transform my heart today and reveal to me how I can humbly serve others. If I am tempted to become proud, then remove the spotlight from me. Keep my heart and my intentions focused on loving you, Lord, and other people. In your name, amen. And I got that from my YouVersion app this morning, okay? And even Caterlin says there's a difference between being a manager and a leader, and that couldn't be more true. That couldn't be more true of a statement. There's definitely a difference between being a manager and a leader. There's also a difference between being a resident and a president. President Biden is far from a leader, where President Trump was a huge leader. He led by example, and that's why this country thrived so well for 4 years. But now, look where we are now. So I appreciate you guys all joining in, and thank you. And again, sorry for the hiccups this morning. Let's get right to the news, shall we? Welcome to the 368th day, ladies and gentlemen. The 368th day of 15 days to slow the spread. Are you happy? Do you think the spread was slowed down by that 15 days? Do you think that spread was slowed down by 368 days? I can tell you this. The states that decided not to lock everything down and make you wear a masky pad everywhere you went. I will, Dara. I will check the email. I will check the mail afterwards. I appreciate that. All the states that decided not to make you wear a masky pad and not to lock down, they were the ones that did the best when it came to COVID-19 and the supposed deaths that it caused. They were the ones that did the best. The ones that did the worst, like New York and California, they were the ones that locked everything down. Think about it. They were the ones that locked everything down. So we are now 368 days into 15 days to slow the spread. And even though the numbers are plummeting, not that I believe the numbers were ever up anyway. Not that I believe they were ever up anyways, ladies and gentlemen. But even though the numbers seem to be plummeting, okay, they're still moving the goalposts. There's still no end in sight in most of the states in this country. The only way this is ever going to end, ladies and gentlemen, the only way this is ever going to end is when you decide that it ends. When you and me and everybody else watching this page and everybody else who doesn't watch this show, when we decide it ends, that's when it ends. When we decide we've had enough, that's when it's enough. And until then, our rights are continuously going to be given away. Once you start giving the federal government control over your life, or the government period, even the state government, once you start giving the government control of your life, once you start giving them your freedoms, it is a never-ending one-way street. They never come back. They never come back. Remember what Ronald Reagan said? The worst words you could ever hear is, "Hi, I'm from the federal government and I'm here to help you." Hi, I'm from the federal government. I'm here to help. 9 words. The 9 worst words that you could possibly ever hear. Hi, I'm from the federal government. I'm here to help. They do not help. Ronald Reagan said that. He said that. Those are his words. Once you start giving them an inch, they take a mile. And they will only come back to you. Your rights and your freedoms will only come back to you when you decide that you have had enough. Okay? So we're going to move on to the first and foremost section today, and it's going to be talking about Ford Motor Company. Under President Trump, Ford Motor Company made an agreement, basically a handshake agreement. Do you know what that handshake agreement was? It was that they would keep their plants here in the United States and that they would not move them abroad, or they would not move them to Mexico. And if they did, everything that came across the United States border would be taxed 25% or higher. So they decided, okay, we will honor that agreement and we will keep our plants right here in the United States of America. However, now that President Biden is occupying the White House illegally, Ford Motor Company has said, you know what, we're not going to do that anymore. We've decided we're not going to do that anymore. We're not going to honor our agreement any longer. And we are going to move our plant from Northeast Ohio to Mexico. So, ladies and gentlemen, a bunch of your jobs are leaving Northeast Ohio, and they are moving to Mexico if you worked in the Ford Motor Company plants, the warehouses they have there. Those are now leaving, and they went back on their deal. They reneged on their deal, their verbal deal with President Trump, and now they're moving. And this just goes to show you. This goes to show you what a disgrace some of these companies are. This goes to show you what a disgrace President Biden and his left-wing puppeteer administration is. They are a disgrace to this country. Ford is a disgrace to this country, and Ford is a disgrace to their word. They went back on their word. They went back on their promise. And Teresa says, Ohio here, and I am pissed, she says. And I 100% agree. I 100% agree. I'm not even from Ohio, but I can tell you this, it's more jobs leaving this country, and we have a weak administration whose only goal is to transform and fundamentally change this country into a social utopia with wokeness everywhere. It's disgusting, and what can you do about Ford Motor Company other than not buy Fords? You know what I mean? What can you do? Other than not buy Fords. Sarah says, I emailed you, Jeremy. Yeah, I know. A lot of people have, and I'll get to them. I'm backed up to last Saturday right now, actually. So I'm trying to get there, and I will get there as soon as possible. I promise. One way or another, I'll get there. Even if I got to, some days what I do is a couple days a week, I work until about 10 o'clock at night, trying to answer emails and trying to take care of things. And until I can get to a point where I can hire somebody else, which I don't ever want to do because I don't, this is our baby. This is the People's Network. I don't want somebody coming in and screwing it up. But until that day comes, I'm just always going to be behind. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to move along. We're going to give the first Dum Dum Award of the day today, and that's going to go to Biden's climate czar, John Kerry. This guy's always been a dum-dum, but now he's caught on American Airlines in first class not wearing his mask. What did President Biden say? That it was a federal law to wear your mask in federal property or in federal transportation? Well, last time I checked, last time I was on a plane, they said it was a federal law to wear your mask. But again, do as I say, not as I do. This is where you all have to stop. Everybody has to stop all at once. And the only way we're going to be able to go back to normal is if millions and millions of people decide, nope, we're not doing this anymore. John Kerry, you get the first Dum Dum Award of the day, and that Swamp Donkey bucket is filling up quite fast, where that Rhino bucket barely has any in them. I want to give rhinos, dum-dums, but the Swamp Donkeys just make it so easy. John Kerry, first Dum Dum Award of the day today. I can't stand you. Many people can't stand you. I thought the world was going to end. Wasn't the world supposed to end? You and the rest of your lying climate, that's all it is. It's a lie. This whole climate change, global warming thing is just, it's a business. It's a business. Al Gore and John Kerry are like twins when it comes to pushing this climate lie. And that's all it is, ladies and gentlemen. The only one that's in charge of this climate is God himself. God in heaven is in charge of this earth. God in heaven is in charge of what happens on this earth, and that includes the climate. Nothing you do is going to ever change that. Do I think we should be more green and be more, kind to the earth? Of course I do. Of course I do. But there's nothing that we're going to be able to do to stop the world ending in 12 years. Oh, whatever. I guarantee you he won't be fined. I guarantee you he won't be punished. And I guarantee you he'll get in zero trouble over violating his boss's own law. Remember? Signed it right into law or whatever, or said it was a new federal law. And then while he signed it in, he was not wearing a mask on federal property. Yeah. Anyway, moving on, ladies and gentlemen, the U.S. Department of Defense put out a memo directing all of the U.S. military departments to promote and to protect, are you ready for this? LGBTQIA rights. So from now on, the U.S. military is no longer focused on making sure that we are the strongest, fastest, quickest to respond, most elite fighting force on this planet. Nope. The U.S. military and all of the departments from the Pentagon now are worried more about your feelings over fighting. They're worrying about your feelings over facts. They're worrying about lowering the bar so everybody can join in and be an Army Ranger. Lower the bar so everybody can be a Navy SEAL. Lower the bar so that everybody can participate in doing what? Exactly. So now they put out a memo to directing all the U.S. military departments to promote and protect. Why is it the U.S. military's job to promote? I get that it might be the U.S. military's job to protect, but why would it be the military's job to promote LGBTQ, ABCD, XYZ rights? That makes zero sense to me. What are you going to do? You're going to go on some like Captain America tour and with the LGBTQ community and show and wave rainbow flags to soldiers that are fighting overseas? Like, what do you mean promote? What a stupid idea that is. And what a lame military we're turning into in the United States of America. We are no longer the most elite fighting force. They all get trophies. The Air Force, the Army, the Marines, the Coast Guard, the Space Force, Navy, they all get it. Even though the people that are fighting, the people in uniform, like people that are probably in your family, you're married to, your brothers, your sisters, your sons, your daughters, they're out there fighting and doing what they should do. But the top brass of the military is more concerned now on waving rainbow flags than they are putting our flag where we win wars. Ain't that something, ladies and gentlemen? So ridiculous. But this is what you get under Resident Corn Pop with his hairy legs and his pedophilia and his cockroaches and kids jumping on his lap and sniffing people every day. I wonder if he sniffs people with his mask on. I wonder if he does that. Huh. Weird. Anyway, again, if you're just joining in, thank you very much. I know the date is wrong on the video. I will change that. We're going to give the first Smarty Award of the day today. And while we give this Smarty Award, I actually want to bring up something for you so you guys can see this. How many of you that live in Texas know who Brian Slayton is? I'm going to switch this over. Brian Slayton, he is a Texas representative, okay? And there's his beautiful, wonderful family right there. Let me explain to you who Brian Slayton is and what he's doing in Texas right now. He is putting forward bills, which I believe will pass and go right up to the governor, to finish the unfinished portions of the border wall in Texas without the authority or without the consent of the U.S. government, okay? What happens in Texas is Texas's business, not the U.S. government. So he is putting these bills forward to not only finish the wall, but upon completion of finishing the wall, Texas is going to send the invoice to the federal government. And why? Because Brian Slayton says, and Texas Congress agrees with him, that the President of the United States does not have the legal authority or the power to stop the funds that were appropriated through Congress already to fund building the wall. President Biden can't just come in by himself and unilaterally sign something saying that the border wall has to stop. That's not how it works, ladies and gentlemen. The funds were already appropriated by Congress for the completion of the wall. So Texas is going to finish the wall themselves, and they are going to send the bill to the U.S. government. Way to go, Brian Stelton. And this, again, ladies and gentlemen, is how we fight back. Brian Slayton, wonderful man. You get the first Smarty Award of the day, and this is what needs to happen, guys. We need to continue to fight. We need to continue to stand up, and we need to continue to let this regime know that we are not going to take it. The United States of America and the people that live inside this beautiful country are far more powerful than President Biden or even the federal government as a whole, and they're going to get a rude awakening in this administration. And maybe this is exactly what the United States of America needed. We relied so heavily on President Trump. We relied so heavily on one man to save us from all the rights and freedoms that we've been given the federal government over the last 6 decades. And until we needed to get our hands dirty and become humble ourselves, this country was never going to be saved. And I truly believe, like I've said, that this is happening for a reason. President Biden and the left and their woke-topia way of life is starting to be exposed to the world. And while it's starting to be exposed to the world, regular, everyday Americans like you, myself, Brian Slayton, and others are doing exactly what that verse said this morning. We're getting down there, we're getting our hands dirty, and we are going to take our rights back, and we are going to take our freedoms back. We can no longer expect one man or one administration to go into government and save us. We and God are the only people that can save this country. So, ladies and gentlemen, Brian Slayton, what a great American, gets the first Smarty Award of the day today. Speaking of fighting the residency, the illegal residency of our White House, let's continue to talk a little bit more. 21 states have now joined the federal lawsuit against President Biden to overturn another executive order that he did not have the power, ladies and gentlemen, he did not have the power to do unilaterally. That's such a hard word to say sometimes. So 21 states have joined in to overturn the canceling of the Keystone Pipeline to make sure that these people get their jobs back and to make sure that we continue to have energy independent, be an energy independent country. So I will tell you who these 21 states are, but guess where they filed the federal lawsuit? They filed it in the state of Texas. And we already know, ladies and gentlemen, that there are wonderful federal judges in the state of Texas. So, 21 states now. Here are the states that have joined in on this lawsuit. And if you are one of these residents of these states, make sure you reach out to your Attorney General's office. Make sure you reach out to your representatives to continue to apply pressure into the Attorney General's office and see where you can help, because there might be something out there that you can do. Okay? The 21 states are Texas, Montana, Alabama, Arizona, Arkansas, Georgia, Indiana, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Mississippi, Missouri, Nebraska, North Dakota, Ohio, Oklahoma, South Carolina, South Dakota, Utah, West Virginia, and Wyoming. All of those attorney generals are working together, filed in the state of Texas. Smart move, by the way, in order to overturn the Biden residency's canceling of the Keystone Pipeline. Again, ladies and gentlemen, this is how we fight. This is another example of us lightening the blows that are coming from this administration. We can do it. We can do it. We can fight and keep this country alive while this guy and his administration run rampant until President Trump comes back or until we, the people, decide we've had enough. However that means and whatever that means. All right. So those are the states. And yeah, I didn't mention Pennsylvania and I didn't mention Wisconsin. And I didn't mention Michigan. There seems to be a lot of people saying, oh, great, my state didn't do it. But a lot of people are in here understanding, hey, we have the power. And that's what's great about this audience and people like the War Room, Steve Bannon's audience. You guys don't just sit back and get information and then just let it go through one ear and out the other. You guys actually take information and you guys do something with it. Those are called force multipliers. Or if you talk about it in old-fashioned terms, those are patriots who are standing up for this country. That's what I love about you guys. So thank you guys very much. If you haven't liked the video or shared it even once on your Facebook page or with friends, please take this time to do so. I am going to play for you a commercial. Now, you guys have seen at the bottom of my video, right down there, scrolling, that there's always something about patriotfoods.com. So if you don't know what patriotfoods.com is a place where you can go and get all of your fresh produce delivered right to you from a family, local, not necessarily local, but from a family farm right here in the United States of America, and you don't have to depend on getting your produce from places where you don't know where it's coming from or what pesticides are on it, or even having a shortage like we did during COVID. So I'm going to switch this over here and show you this commercial from patriotfoods.com while you guys do me the favor of sharing the video. Here we go.
The majority of produce brands you're buying in your local stores is imported produce, and it's putting the American farmer out of business. Patriot Foods is fighting back by providing U.S.-only produce. Choosing the Patriot Foods brand is how you can support the American farmers, families, and our servicemen and women. Patriot Foods has family that has fought in the 2 major world wars. We strongly believe in your patriotism and your willingness to do what's right for your country. We need your help. Please join the fight and demand your country's brand in your local stores. We thank you and salute you.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. patriotfoods.com. That's how we support our local farmers. That is how we take more power back from the federal government and from these massive chains, these huge produce store chains. This is how we not only take our country back piece by piece, but we also fund family farms who have been absolutely crushed and destroyed. So it's in the it's in the scrolling words at the bottom of this screen, patriotfoods.com, and that is what actually prompted me to take proceeds. A percentage of the proceeds from my online store, 10% from March and 10% from April, we will pile together and we will talk about family farms in your area, and we'll get a bunch of names together and we'll put them in a hat and we'll pull out a name. And whatever name we pull out, we're going to send a check from us, the People's Network, Live from America Media Company. We're going to send a check to a lucky family farm who, you know what, every one of them need it. Every one of them need it. And I'm going to do this every single month from here through the rest of the year. So not only March and April, but from here until December of end of this year, we're going to take 10% of everything that comes in from the online store and we're going to send it to family farms because they're getting crushed right now. I have family members who are farmers. I grew up helping out on the farm, baling hay, feeding cows, milking cows. I did all that. I did all that stuff. And I know how hard it is. I do. And I wish I could give more. But I take percentages from from the store as well to give to wounded warriors and children's hospitals and things like that. But ladies and gentlemen, when you buy something from my store, it isn't just going to me. It's going to the growth of this show and to help other Americans out. So if you can, if you find it in your heart. Oh, and by the way, 30 orders went out from the store this morning. So if you've been waiting for something from the store, don't worry, it's coming. And we're working with them to make sure that they can get orders out faster. So I apologize. Again, it's not my company who does it. It's a third-party company that we work with, but they're great people and they love conservatism and they love patriots. And I'm assuming they love President Trump too. We've never really got into that. But they said that they would never ban me for anything to do with President Donald J. Trump, like Teespring did, okay? All right, moving on, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk about Terry Lynn Wright. Terry Lynn Wright is a 65-year-old retired woman living in the state of Texas. Now, we already know that Governor Greg Abbott rescinded his mask mandate to where you don't have to wear a mask anymore in Texas. However, you do have your liberal cities and your liberal mayors who are still enforcing a mask mandate, which should be completely illegal, by the way. You should be able to sue them, just like the governor and the attorney general are suing those cities and those mayors, those towns. You individually should be able to sue them too. Why? Because of this right here. We'll get to Terry Lynn Wright in a minute, but let me just tell you something that I've learned in some of the places that I've been employed in the last 10 years. If your door is open to the public, you cannot discriminate against somebody. You cannot discriminate against them because they're gay. You cannot discriminate against them because of the color of their skin. You cannot discriminate against them because they're handicapped. You cannot discriminate against them because of their age. You cannot discriminate against them because of what they wear, what they look like, how their hair is up or down, what makeup they have on. If your doors are open to the public, then you are obligated to sell to everybody unless they are breaking the law or unless they are causing a massive disturbance in your store. And if you live in a state where there's no mask mandates and you have an open door if you're open to the public to sell as a store, then you cannot discriminate against somebody if they're not wearing a mask. Well, that's not what happened in Texas, guys. Terry Lynn Wright, 65-year-old woman who's retired, was arrested for the second time in 1 week. At this time, she was arrested in Office Depot. Prior to that, just a few days before that, she was arrested in a local bank. But this time in Office Depot, she was actually tackled by police, hurting her ankle, and they had to take her to the hospital. So they didn't arrest her that day, but they're putting a warrant out for her arrest. For what? She broke no laws at all. You cannot arrest her. You cannot detain her, all because the store, Office Depot, made a huge stink and had the cops come about her not wearing a mask. She should sue them. She should sue Office Depot. She should sue the city police. She should sue the mayor. She should sue anybody who was involved in trampling on her rights and hurting her and humiliating her and embarrassing her, all because she was choosing to not wear a mask in a state where there was no mask mandate. Remember this, ladies and gentlemen. An open door, open to the public store, cannot discriminate against you if you're not wearing a mask where there are no mask mandates. Honestly, a mask mandate isn't even a law anyways. They really can't do it anyways. If you wanted to, you could fight it all. But especially where there's no mask mandate, and the governor rescinded that mandate and told everybody to open up, every city, every town, every store. And if they don't do it and you get arrested for it, massive lawsuit. So if let's try to figure out a way to help Terry Lynn Wright if you live in the state of Texas. And again, we've been talking about standing up against this regime and standing up against these freedoms that are taken from us. This is another way we do it, ladies and gentlemen. Hit them where it hurts. Hit them where it hurts. Okay? Was office or home debate? No, I don't know what you meant by that. From what I understand, it was Office Depot, not Home Depot. It was Office Depot. Terry home state is in Oregon. I know that. Why she moved there. Yep, that is her home state. Yep. But she was still in Texas when this happened. I'm just reading some of your Terry sue Texas. Well, I don't think it's about suing Texas. I don't think it's about suing Texas. I think it's about suing the mayor of that town that she was in. This is not America, Doris said. Nope, I agree with you, 100%. Roxanne says, my kids live in Texas. Yep. Writer, legislators. Yep, I get you, 100%. I'm with you on that, you guys. All right. I got to show you something else. This really chapped my you-know-what. Let's see if we can bring this up so you guys can see this here. All right, here we go. Netflix is at it again. Netflix Paradise PD under fire after airing graphic anti-NRA episode of Jesus carrying out mass killing and having a threesome with two women. Ready? And every Christian should sue Netflix for this, okay? Because if this was geared towards Islam, can you imagine the lawsuits? Here's the picture right here. Jesus breaking off the cross with it looks like two Uzis in his hands, all right? And let's read what a disgusting picture though, right? What a massively disgusting picture this is. And think about this. Say if you have Netflix, okay? Say if you haven't boycotted Netflix and you still have them. Say if your kids who happen to be Christian come across this and watch this. This is no different than when my kids were in public school and my son got in trouble for saying that when he thinks of Christmas, he thinks of Jesus, okay? He got in trouble for that. That was the last straw that made us take our kids out of public school. But imagine if your children saw this on Netflix, all right? Okay, let's read this. It says Netflix is taking heat after a graphic and disturbing episode of Paradise PD aired featuring a cartoon character, Jesus, shilling for the NRA and engaging in a threesome. How disgusting is that? What an insult to billions of people on this earth, and what an insult to Jesus himself. As highlighted by Newsbusters, Season 3, episode Trigger Warning features a gun-wielding Jesus and turns into a porno. The season's 4th episode addressed gun control and legislation by ridiculing white male gun owners for using guns as a replacement for testosterone. Paradise's police chief confesses to needing a gun to get an erection, and the head of the NRA says the initials stand for Nards Removed. Let's see here. Association. The outlet notes, the script is off the wall even for his totally unrealistic series. In the episode, one of the cartoon police officers is concerned over gun violence and tries to effect sensible gun control reform in the department through his father, the police chief. Okay? And you know what? We're not even gonna continue reading this. You guys get it. All right? You guys get it. This is disgusting. This is an embarrassment. This is an insult. And I think there should be a class action lawsuit against Netflix for the exact reason as I just said. Do you have to have Netflix? No, you don't. Are you forced to have Netflix? No, you're not. If you have Netflix and you have children, can they come across this and see this monstrosity? Yes, they can. Can it destroy their view of their faith? Yes, it can. So, ladies and gentlemen, there could be a class action lawsuit against Netflix for this. Not just a boycott, but an actual class action lawsuit from Christians all over the country for damaging their children and for damaging anybody in their household who happens to come across this. Now, would you be watching this show if I don't know. I don't even know what the show is. I've never even heard of it. But when I saw this, I had to report on it. Disgusting. It's a shame. And this is evil at work. This is evil at work. And yes, they could be sued for this. All right. I want to bring up another story here for you. And I think this is another way. This whole show, ladies and gentlemen, is about fighting back. This whole show is about standing up, getting your freedoms, and fighting back as an American. So I want to bring this up for you because here's another American who might just, ladies and gentlemen, we always thought it was Trump that was going to save this country. It may be somebody else. Let's transition over to see this. Mike Lindell of MyPillow strikes back, countersuing Dominion, talking about suing Facebook and Twitter. We already know he's starting his own social media company, but let's read this for a little bit. There's a great picture of Mike Lindell right there. He might be the savior of this country, ladies and gentlemen. On Tuesday, the announcement was made that CEO of Mike Lindell was preparing 2 counter lawsuits against Dominion voting systems, claiming, number one, that Dominion violated First Amendment rights of all Trump supporters, which they did, because they made it so that if you said anything about them, then you would have your social media taken down and you would be demonized by big tech. And number 2, Dominion engaged in racketeering, which they did, and breaking RICO laws. Now Lindell has confirmed that Alan Dershowitz has joined his legal team. Now, we all have our own, how do you want to say it? We all have our own opinions of Alan Dershowitz. A lot of us know or have heard that he's made numerous trips to Epstein's pedophile island. Now, could be true, could not be true. I don't think any of us really know 100%. What I do know about Alan Dershowitz is that when it comes to the Constitution and being an attorney for what the Constitution actually says, there's very few out there that can argue as well as Alan Dershowitz can. I trust that Mike Lindell put him on his team because he trusts him, and put him on his team because he thinks he's going to win. Here's the great thing about this. Mike Lindell needed Dominion to sue him first, because Dominion suing him first allows him to have a defense. Now, if Mike Lindell had sued Dominion first, courts may not have heard it. Courts may not have even wanted to hear the defense or heard the evidence, see the evidence, or even make a judgment on the evidence. But when you are on the defense and when you have to put together a defense to show what you're talking about and why that you're saying the things that you're saying, well, ladies and gentlemen, then it's a completely different story. Then you can show all the evidence. And if Mike Lindell has Alan Dershowitz on his team, and they can show all the evidence on how exactly Dominion was used to fraud the 2020 election, well, guys, Dominion is in for a world of hurt, because they're not just trying to shut somebody up who has no money. They're trying to scare and put fear into a billionaire to shut his mouth about Dominion because he's got a large platform. That's what Twitter did, and that's what Facebook did. Now, here you have Mike Lindell, a billionaire who has the support of every one of you watching and has the support of me as well. He gets a Smarty Award of the day today, Mike Lindell, because this was a genius move on his part to be able to show the world the actual fraud. What he's going to do now is he's going to take his documentary, he's going to take his movie that was shown on RSBN and was shown on OAN and was shown on his website. He's going to take all of that evidence that he gathered from the last 6 months. He's going to take all the evidence he's gathered since then. He's going to take Facebook and Twitter, removing him for telling the truth. He's going to show all that truth, and in the midst of all of it, he's going to show how Dominion cheated and when swayed the 2020 election. Now, the great thing about this is two things are going to come out of this. Okay? Two things are going to come out of this. Either he is going to put Dominion out of business for good, okay? Or he is going to make it so cripple their ability to ever cheat ever again. Meaning there'll be a microscope on them, their business, and everything that they do from here on out as it pertains to elections and their touchscreen machines. One way or another, Mike Lindell is going to cripple Dominion, whether it means crippling them out of existence or crippling them into compliance. One of the two is going to happen. And Mike Lindell might just be the savior of this country. And who would have ever thought? Again, ladies and gentlemen, all of this is happening for a very specific reason. Every bit of it. And if it's to overcome and show the world what really happened, if it's to expose the woke left and all of their illegal crimes that they've been committing for decades, and if it is to put America back on track and inject a little bit of patriotism and give you the blueprint on how to take back your freedoms, then ladies and gentlemen, I am all for it. Jesus, take the wheel and lead us to the promised land. Okay? All we have to do is not give up. We're not giving up on the 2020 election fraud. We're not giving up on what's happening right now, and we're not giving up the fight for the future. And where there's two or more gathered, ladies and gentlemen, Jesus is there. God is there. And right now we have about 2,400 people watching. Every one of us on this channel want this country back. Every one of us want our freedoms back, and every one of us would stand up and fight. Even the people that are watching this show, they're 60, 70, 80 years old. You're willing to fight one way or another. It may not be physically. It may be doing the sharing the videos. It may be contributing to those who do. It may be buying a MyPillow from MyPillow.com to help the fight. Whatever it is, we're all in this fight together, and I am proud, I am happy, I'm excited, inspired, and humbled to be in this fight with you. You guys have created Live from America. You guys have brought it to what it is today, and with your help, we're going to push this even further. So thank you guys so very much. I want to encourage you to go to that patriotfoods.com, okay? Go to patriotfoods.com. Make sure you help them out. Make sure you pass the word to people about this show so they can go and order some stuff off my store so we can build that pot of money that we're going to give to a family farm. And it's all about just sharing is caring, guys. There's no greater promotion than word of mouth. It still exists, even with the internet. All right, so that's going to do it for Live from America today, guys. Remember, JeremyHerrell.com for everything. Sign up for the newsletter, listen to music, watch old shows, listen to old podcasts, and remember, there are right ways, there are wrong ways, but there's only one Yahweh. So stand up tall, keep your shoulders back, keep your chest out, and keep your head up high, because you are a child of God, and no weapon formed against you will ever prosper. We'll see you tonight at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, and I'll have the date right this time for more Live from America with your ever so humble, God-fearing, and God-loving host, Jeremy Herrell, the Hip Hop Patriot. God bless you guys, and we'll see you later today.
Rebirth of America. It's been a long time coming, and we all learned something that we won't ever give it up. No way. Long as I'm bleeding, I'ma never stop screaming that we first in America.